society man if ever I met one.
Sorry, Lloyd Mills couldn't be here tonight. My name's Martin Huckabee, stunt coordinator and stunt performer on various Hollywood productions. Yeah, my job is to teach you how to jump off a 14-foot wall without your shin bones popping up through your kneecaps. It's my job to teach you how to drive through a forest of flames without burning your bollocks off. And it's my job to teach you how to act underwater for several minutes without imploding boss-eyed like a billionaire's submersible. Now, a bit of topical humour for you there, sir. That's fairly topical. Now, I've doubled for many a Hollywood actor deemed far too handsome to be put in any sort of peril. Channing Tatum, two of the Hemsworths, Vin Diesel and Idris Elba, to name a few. Now, it's my pleasure to be here tonight. I appreciate that it's a comedy night, so what I've done is I've written a joke for the occasion, if you'll indulge me. Thank you. Here we go. Right, I can open that thing. Here we go. Two lesbians in the shower. I came as soon as I heard. There you go, that's your joke. Well, I'm primarily here to promote my autobiography, Damp Squibs and Fractured Ribs, a stunt coordinator's story. I thought I'd try and flog a few copies tonight, if only to get the wife off me back. Sell some books, you useless bastard. Fuck me, I'm surprised she can string a sentence together, the amount of pills she's knocking back. Either way, she's Russian too, so also devoid of any human empathy. It's fine, it's a genetic thing, don't worry. But the book runs the gamut of my life experience, you see. I've seen all kinds of things. I've witnessed and been humbled by the sunrise over the Andes Mountains. I've seen a fella fall off scaffolding and explode on the tarmac like a accordion filled with ketchup. It's been a full and frightening life, I don't mind telling you. But tonight I'm going to regale you with my favourite anecdote from the book. Picture the scene, if you will. It's the early 2000s and I'm working on a large Hollywood production at Pinewood Studios. Now, the star, or at least one of the stars of the movie, who I am not allowed to name for legal reasons, comes up to me and he says, "Martin, I've just annihilated the most lovely bit of crumpet in my trailer." I said, "Well, good on you, mate. You know, got to be a few perks to the old acting game." And he says, "Why don't you come and have a go yourself, you know?" I said, I can't do that. I'm a married man. I've got her and she's got her smutty novels. It's not perfect, but it's a fairly concrete arrangement. He said, "What are you going to do? Sit around all morning with your dick in your hand waiting for them to call you?" I said, "Well, you know, the only thing I've got in my hand is this breakfast burrito, and that's perfectly fine with me." He said, "Do me a favour, Martin. Come with me to my trailer and have a go on this lovely bit of crumpet." And out of frustration more than anything, I said, "Fuck it, all right, I'll go with you." So I follow him round to his trailer. I walk up the steps, I turn around, he's looking at me, giving me a fairly encouraging look. I open the door, and I go in. There on the counter, a literal packet of crumpets. So I turn around, and he stood there with a large pat of butter, and I say, "What the fuck's that for?" And he says, "Lubrication." Anyway, it's all in the book. Frankly, and if you want to fucking get into the stunt game, let me tell you, you're going to want to read this thing, because if you don't want to end up wearing your rib cage as a crash helmet, you want to read the book and stick to the Huckabee mantra, SYC, stay safe, you cunts, okay? That's been me tonight. I'm going to fuck off now. I've done my bit. Thanks for your time.
Are you here for swimming? Okay. Julie? Okay. Rule number 1 when you're swimming is no diving. Okay. Your first time swimming? Me too. As you can tell, I am not from London. I am from France. And in France, we say la swimming pool, la piscine. Oui? La swimming pool, la piscine. Rule number 2, there will be no piss in my pool. Okay. As your swimming instructor, I will answer your questions about swimming. Perhaps I can ask you some as well. Okay, one question I might ask is, why is the pool always blue? Another question I might ask is, why can't we breathe underwater? Another question I might ask is, why isn't aqua aerobics called swimnastics? Okay. T'appelles-tu, your name? T'appelles-tu, your name? Oh, your name? Huh? Lucy, j'adore Lucy, j'adore. Do you swim? Yeah. Okay, Lucy, I will show you some types of swimming, and you shout out what they are, okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. The first type of swimming.
Backstroke.
Oh, you do swim? Ah, j'adore Lucy, j'adore. Okay, the second type of swimming, Lucy? Okay, okay. It's front crawl, Lucy. J'adore, j'adore. Okay. T'appelles-tu, your name? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. What? Rosie? This is your name? This is my mother's name? No, seriously. I miss my mother so much. She still lives out in France. She has a small bakery, pret-a-manger. She's not as small as I thought, eh? Oh, no. No. J'adore Rosie. What, do you swim? Yeah. And have you been to France? Yes. Where have you been in France? A few. Name one. What? What? Toulouse? I live in a small village outside Toulouse called Milton Keynes. Okay. Okay. So. Rule number 3 when you are swimming is health and safety. Yes, can I have a volunteer? Perhaps you? Will you join me to the stage? Thank you. Round of applause. Okay, I do not have much time. What do you need when you swim? Whoa, whoa. Advanced swimmers. I heard a swimsuit. Do you have swimsuit? You got a crazy voice. You can have mine. If you cannot see at the back, I am unemployed. In the pocket for you is some for this. And perhaps, yes. For you? You all thought this was real, no? Yes. TikTok, TikTok, come on. Okay, fantastic. Stand there, perfect. Thank you. Rule number 3 is be cool in the pool. For me, I do not wear these things because, as you can see, he looks like a dick. I have been Max Devine. Thank you very much.
Hi, girlies. Do you like my t-shirt? It's kind of scary. Mental health, huh? Think about it. We all have it. We all have it. You can't walk down the street these days without meeting someone who has anxiety or ADHD, depression, BPD. Sometimes it's letters. Sometimes it's just full words. I used to struggle a lot with my mental health. That's a lie. I still deeply struggle with my mental health. But for the sake of the joke, I used to struggle a lot with my mental health. I was a very anxious child. And I think back now and I'm like, why was I so worried? I feel like when you're an adult, there's like legitimate reasons to be anxious and scared, like work or being alive in general, and holding in farts in public. That's a big one. But I think back and I'm like, what was I so scared of at 8 years old? You know, my family dying in very dark, specific ways. Yes, always. I think a big reason why I was so anxious as a child is because of my use of the internet. I was like really addicted to the World Wide Web. Specifically, Tumblr was my favorite. Yeah, right, some Tumblr fans. For anyone who doesn't know what Tumblr is, it's like a social media platform where you can share like photos or blog posts or like detailed digital drawings of like Sherlock Holmes and John Watson like rimming each other, you know? I really think I morphed into the woman that I am today because of my time on the internet, and I mean that in the worst way possible. I got some really niche interests because of the internet. So, for example, I used to run a wildly unsuccessful Downton Abbey blog. I really developed my sexuality. An example of that is the image I just described. I also really found my political sensibilities, and by that I mean I used to just like verbally abuse my family about social justice issues that they just like didn't care about at all. Because I was such an online child, I never really got in trouble. I never was like a bad kid, you know. Except one time, my dad did get a wooden spoon and he hit me on the bum. And when I think back now, my first thought is vintage. And my second thought is, I too would lightly beat my child if they constantly berated me about what I personally was doing to stop the African dictator Coney. If you're ever trying to have a baby, don't tell me. Because I will immediately just picture you getting raw dogged. Speaking of raw dogging, I've had sex. Thank you. I lost my virginity relatively late in life, which I think is surprising considering what a class A piece of ass I am. Thank you for laughing. I lost my virginity. Saying lost your virginity is such a crazy turn of phrase, isn't it? Because I didn't lose anything. I know exactly where that went. And where mine went was with a young gentleman named Mike. Yeah, short for Michael, I presume. I cannot stress how little I knew this man, you know. We met through a mutual friend. He was on, say it with me, ladies, the ultimate Frisbee team. Yes. I love an athlete. He was on the ultimate Frisbee team, and I was in the drama club, a match made in, I imagine, most people's hell, you know? But we go back to Mike's, we do the do, we make love. No, let's call a spade a spade. He popped it in, moved around a little, called it a day. But when we both finished, although to be crystal clear, neither of us finished per se. So what I should say, when we stopped performing the act, I got out of the bed and I looked at myself in the mirror. My hair was slightly tousled from the friction. And I remember thinking, Alice, you have sex hair. How cosmopolitan. I'll leave you with this, guys. Mike has gone on to publish 2 Sunday Times best-selling novels. No, I'm joking. I never met that man before he entered me, and I've never seen him since. Thank you.
Good evening. So, big bad by-elections in Rochdale last week. We got any fans of UK regional politics in tonight? Yeah, well, I'm going there, so strap yourselves in and let's rock! According to analysts, to win the next election, parties must target Stevenage woman. Stevenage woman, a type of suburban swing voter who holds the keys to Downing Street. Last election, it was Workington Man in the Red Wall. Don't know if you ever feel this, but oh, it's never me they're after. It's never London prick. Stevenage woman believes we should not increase immigration. We should be proud of Britain's past. And young people do not respect British values. But without more immigrant labour, a chai latte could jump from £3.45 to £3.49 in Gales. Pricks of London, if we want a government that reflects our needs, we must find Stevenage woman before the parties do. Without ever, and this is key, for anyone who likes living in hope, without ever going to Stevenage. Because we found Workington Man too late, didn't we? And when we did, he wasn't a man at all, was he? He was a racist pork pie with a legitimate grievance about regional bus route connectivity. Huh! So find her, Stevenage woman, convert her to elitist liberal attitudes. School her in our blood-soaked colonial past. Or, and this more or less worked when I bought a flat-pack storage bed, go on findatradesman.com and pay a desperate man minimum wage to attack her with spanners. Christ, where did that come from? I'm a gay urban pacifist who can't harm anything bigger than a wasp. For instance, I found a sparrow with a broken wing. So I took it to an ex who's an orthopaedic surgeon, and together we slid it inside an envelope and, mercy killing, reversed over it in his car. Oh God, that's a weird bit, isn't it? But I have to say it to establish I don't drive. Unlike Stevenage woman. Except, and this is how we catch her, when she's travelling to dog shit musical Jersey Boys. She'll be there on the Bakerloo. So how do we convert her to our cause? The only way London prick knows how. By painting our faces white and boarding her carriage in flowing red robes, designed by a Dalston-based artist, as part of a bullshit middle-class performative protest. And lo, Stevenage woman will cry out, I thought I wanted policies rooted in my everyday experience, but through your bullshit protest, I see the big picture issues that unite us both. I'm a bellwether, you're a bell end. I'm a fictional composite composed from the data of 13 separate focus groups. You're a bell end. This is my stop. Take my clutch bag. It holds the keys to Downing Street. Only as the doors close behind her do we see her true beauty. Until she spins and flips us the bird. As the tube moves away, we tear open the clutch bag. There are no keys. Instead, it's stuffed to the gills with a powder compact, passport pics of her kids, and dildos. No! Stevenage woman! So, anyone on the dating apps? There's no time, and I can only have been John Pape. Thank you and good night.
You're thinking, oh God, they're gonna let Grandad. You know what? You're bloody right. Now, my mother is not here tonight. Anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the genders in between. God, that does make me sound so modern, doesn't it? I'm not really. You know, the truth is, us old gits, we're not really comfortable with this whole gender fluid business, you know, because, I mean, you meet a young couple nowadays, they've just had a baby, you go, oh, that's great, congratulations, marvellous news. A boy or a girl? Waiting for it to decide. Okay, fair enough. No, what you see before you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is an old git of 80 with grey hair and an unusually wide parting. And of course, the must-have fashion accessory for all old gits, the fabulous necklace from Specsavers. Some people, of course, go for the Specsavers tiara, little royal wear. I think that's getting a bit pretentious. So, the thing is, I think we can safely say that I am a fully qualified old fart. And let's face it, they don't call us old farts for nothing because, you know, it's a fact. I'm sorry to tell you, but as you get older, your digestive system gets weaker and you just do fart a hell of a lot more. I'm sorry, but it's a fact. It can be really inconvenient as well, you know, because suppose, you know, you're feeling a bit fruity, a bit sexy, a bit up for it. You go to give your wife a hug. The pressure of the hug makes you both fart. So that's the end of that. Back to the Antiques Roadshow. And as for oral sex, I'm afraid that's right out the question. I mean, yeah, you guys heard of a thing called Russian roulette? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oral sex, Russian roulette, bit like it. Anyway. So, but the point is this, that I think it's statistically probable that nearly all of you here tonight are one day going to reach the age of 80. I just got there a bit ahead of you, right? So what I thought I'd do tonight, mark your card for you, let you know what to expect a bit further down the line, okay? Because I tell you what, you will not see it coming, I guarantee. One of these days, you'll be walking through Marks and Spencer's and you'll suddenly go, oh, a beige cardigan with elbow patches. Yeah. Put that together with my dung-coloured corduroys and my highly polished walking stick, and hey presto, babe magnet. Whatever you do, though, don't go down the Michael Portillo route of wardrobe as compensation, you know. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting on an ordinary, boring suburban train, reading to you from an out-of-date railway guide, but come on, pink trousers. One thing you need to know is that when you get old, you're a target for muggers, you know, because we're the easy meat, right? The low-hanging fruit. So you need to learn to defend yourself. Now, some people go for Aikido, some people go for Jiu-Jitsu, some people go for karate. Me, personally, I have mastered all the Japanese arts, right? The lot. So, not only can I kill you with one blow of my forearm, but on your grave, I can do a really bloody minimal flower arrangement. Now, I had a bit of a funny week this week. Went to see my friend Dennis. Dennis is 93, in a care home, in a wheelchair, doubly incontinent, peeing and crapping in his pants. And I chatted to him. But he's got his marbles, you know. Chatted to him for a while, and he looked so pathetic. I said, Dennis, do you ever think of, you know, the one-way ticket to Switzerland? You know, Dignitas. He said, oh, no, Jeff, no. He said, what you've got to realise, he said, is when you pee and crap in your pants, they send these lovely young ladies to wash your private parts with a sponge and warm water. Then you dry it with a towel, bit of talcum powder. He said, you know what, Jeff? He said, a lot of the guys in here could make it to the toilet if they wanted to, but why bother, you know? And you know what? Here's the thing. That meeting with Dennis, it changed my life. Because from up until then, you know, for years I've been dreading getting to the stage that he's at, you know, which I'm not far off it, you know. And suddenly I find I'm quite looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a lovely audience. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to write a little note to all your parents telling them how good you are.
My name's Manny. I was born in Manchester, but when I was 8 years old, my family moved from Manchester to Pakistan, which is a very strange way round to do things. Because normally people go from the developing country to the developed one, and this decision by my parents says a lot about Manchester in the 90s. Where they were like, fuck this shit, bro. We'll take our chances in Lahore. More recently, I've come down with a really bad case of being in my 30s. Thank you for clapping and cheering. I have been very upset about this. I talked to my therapist about it a lot, and I'm just like, dude, what has happened to my hair? And being the great therapist that she is, she's like, Manny, let's reframe the situation. You've not lost your hair. You've just really come into your forehead. Another reframing exercise that we did, you know, I call it a really bad case of being in my 30s. She calls it depression. Having depression is a very strange experience, guys, because there's this voice in my head and it's constantly saying things to me. And it's a lot like getting text messages from a very toxic partner. Hey, cancel all your plans. We're spending the day in bed together. Hey, the dishes aren't going to do themselves, and you're not going to do them either. Hey, I decided not to cook for you tonight. No point trying to fill the void. Thanks, depression. But man, I think I know why I'm depressed. Because I used to be religious. Very specifically, I used to be Muslim. And when you have religion in your life, it's like, do this, and life will be sweet. And now I have to figure that out all by myself. I used to believe in Islam, and I don't believe in Islam anymore for the same reason that I don't watch football anymore. The fans. Thanks, sir. So I've decided to try, you know, my hand at mastering other aspects of life. And on that note, hello. What is your name?
Alva.
Pardon?
Alva.
Alva, nice to meet you, Alva. I'm Manny. Alva, would you like to hear some cloth jokes?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear some good cloth jokes?
Yeah.
Don't have any of those. But we'll see what I've got. Albert, do you know the thing about cloth jokes? You have to weave them into conversation. Seamlessly. Alpha, are you in stitches? See, that's the thing about cloth jokes, guys. You have to be so on point with them. You really have to thread that needle. Alpha, do you think that was the last cloth joke? Can't pull the wool over your eyes. Other than shit cloth, thank you very much. Other than shit cloth jokes, I've also tried to master other aspects of life as well. And I need some help. Do we have a couple in the audience at all? A couple? Hello, your friends have kindly pointed you out. Hello, my man, what's your name? Pardon? Bobby. Bobby, nice to meet you, Bobby. Fruity. Rosie, nice to meet you, Rosie. Bobby, do you go down on Rosie? It's a yes or no question, man. Like, yes. Reluctantly, maybe. It looks like. Rosie, when that blue moon arises every so often, how would you rate Bobby's performance? Out of 10. Wow! 15. Bobby, my man, if you were closer, I'd give you a fist bump. But we should talk later, my friend. Bobby sounds like he has a game plan. I also have a game plan. Just when I'm down there, what I do is that with my tongue, I spell out every letter of the alphabet until I find something that works. Every so often, I get through all 26 letters and nothing really works. And at that point, I say, okay, Greek alphabet, here I come. Because let me tell you, alpha, beta, and theta can do things that A, B, and C only dream of. Theta's my favorite. It has the most coverage. Thank you very much, guys.
Hi, everyone. My jeans are a bit loose. So, this is my third time doing stand-up. Woo! The first time I was doing it, my teenage daughters weren't too pleased. What the fuck? Don't you have to be funny? Oh my God, Mum, that's like a bucket list thing. Are you dying? They were my litmus test for how well I was doing. A bit like, you know, if you're a nervous flyer, you watch the cabin crew, you watch their faces, and that gives you an indication if the plane's about to crash. My teenage daughters, with their rolling eyes and what the fuck looks, were like the cabin crew opening the emergency exit mid-flight. Needless to say, I didn't tell them about the second performance where I won a little gold trophy. And they don't know about tonight, and they will be eating humble pie when they see me tonight at the Apollo. Maybe in about 10 years' time. Anyway, I'm all about feeling the fear these days. And actually, what's nice about this setup is that you get to bring someone with you. So it's a bit of a safety blanket. So the first time I came, well, not here, it was somewhere else, I brought my husband with me, and I thought if all else fails, if I dry, I can have a domestic with him, which will be hugely entertaining. Last time I came here, I had 2 friends with me that laughed at everything. I've got my friend Nikki here tonight, but she seems more interested in her pizza. So I thought, as backup tonight, I'm going to bring some Lucky Charms. So I've got my Good Luck Care Bear from when I was younger. And I have also got Carmelian. I don't know if any of you know this. It's a crystal that's very grounding. And I thought, I've got my little charms in my pocket. I've also got my silky red lucky thong on, inside out, which I won't be showing you now. You can all form an orderly line after the show. And you can go first, sir. But I figure that the more I do this, the more confident I'll get, and I'll get to the point where I will be able to walk down Oxford Street in that silky red thong and nothing else. Do say hello if you see me. And I'll be able to do stand-up off my bucket list, and all I'll have left is bungee jumping and have a threesome. Ideally, bungee jumping while having a threesome down Oxford Street. Anyway, you might not believe this, but I am actually old enough to be the young mother of most of you. Probably not you, sir, or you, madam. I'm just taking a guess, but yeah, I could be your mother. So I'm going to talk about the menopause now. It's all the rage. Maybe your Aunt Mildred's been telling you about her hot flushes. Anyway, everyone's talking about it. Most women grumble about it. I absolutely love it. The only reason I had children was to stop the bleeding. I've got 16 kids, including the 2 stroppy teenagers I was telling you about. Anyway, I left it a bit late, but a year before the menopause, I decided to be environmentally friendly and use a moon cup. I don't know if you know, but the average woman has about 456 periods in her life, which equates to over 9,000 tampons. And I was like, I need to put an end to this. I'm going to be environmentally friendly. For those of you that don't know what a moon cup is, it's a silicone miniature equivalent of sticking a bucket under a very leaky roof. So fine when you're at home, not when you're in the office. It's like carrying a very full teacup on a roller coaster. So I'd be in the cubicles using a whole bog roll to clear the whole mess up. Honestly, a rainforest of bog roll. So my carbon footprint just would go through the roof. And that was just emptying it once. The whole scene would be like CSI, blood absolutely everywhere. And I'd clear it all up, go out of the cubicle very cautiously, making sure no one had seen me, tidy myself up, and then I'd walk back to my desk, and then I'd realise, damn it, I'm always in the loo for about 15 minutes. And that could only mean one thing, that my colleagues were constantly thinking, well, she obviously has a problem with her number 2s. That's me.
Yes. I am indeed tall. That has its challenges. I struggled with coordination and balance when I was younger. But now, after a lot of training, I have become entirely self-centered. Gets worse if you have sex with me. One person recently described the experiences with lots of limbs flopping about. Feels like folding in a pop-up tent. Have I been called a flailing man outside a car dealership? Yes, I have. My mother can be very cruel when she introduces me. I also have a confession to make. Leo is actually not my real name. My real name's incredibly German and just not the vibe. Moritz is my German name. You know, like the Swiss ski resort in the Swiss mountains, which is actually where I'm from. I don't have the most creative parents, I'm afraid. Now I live in London, though. And apart from most English speakers absolutely butchering my first and last name, thank you very much, I also figured out that Saint Moritz is actually the saint of knives and knife crime. And I decided a while ago that that's just not my aura, you know? I just don't live in Croydon. So I picked the name Leo before moving to the UK because A, it's my star sign. And B, I thought Leo's a good name to pick, especially when moving to the UK, because, and you can try this, you can say Leo no matter how messed up your teeth are. I also have a small German accent. Is it sexy? Oh yeah, it is. Thank you very much. I actually tried and worked really hard to lose my German accent because I think it sounds awful. It's like I want to draft you all into the Wehrmacht. But it's still sort of lingering around, just like the feeling of guilt about the fact that my granddad lives in Argentina now. Yes, I grew up in Switzerland, which is not Sweden. I know, shocked silence in the room. But Sweden has tacky stuff like ABBA and IKEA, while Switzerland has nice things like Rolex, tax loopholes, and lots of fence sitting. Try and get an opinion out of a Swiss person? Impossible. Were the Nazis good or bad? I don't know. How much gold do they have? That's a little history joke for you there. Usually splits the room, not because it's particularly offensive, more because of the state of the British education system. But yeah, Switzerland has no position on anything, right? I did not adopt this because my favourite position is doggy style surrounded by 7 hairy men. He's gay? What? I know, right? It's usually the nails, the addiction to the gym, or the tattoo of Taylor Swift lyrics that I have on my upper thigh that gives it away. Yes, I'm a gay man. Gay men were formerly known as... Good, there was a test. You passed? Good. Good. It was close. I don't think I'm a really good gay, though, because I actually don't really like to go to the gym. The only reason I go is so I can pull off a harness, right? We know what a harness is? Yeah. It's like leather straps that wind all around your upper body. It's basically trying to simulate the hugs you never got from your dad. The last time I actually wore a harness is when I went to a private sex party. Any of you ever been? Yeah. Usually hard to tell because I only see people from behind anyway. But turns out I'm very familiar with the sound of a room of men jerking off. I was triggered. Let me set the scene here, right? It's usually a flat or a rich guy in central London somewhere. It's dimly lit, there's some light Katy Perry playing in the background. And people are sort of awkwardly standing around before they have the confidence to get down to business, right? When I arrived, there was this one super hot guy, so I was like, I need to use my best chat-up line. I went up to him and was confidently like, hey, you want to share some chlamydia? He immediately fucked off. Turns out good judgment on his part. He mumbled something about not being good at folding tents. Anyway, found another guy. We ended up in a room with about 6 other people, right? It was quite a nice room. There were some sofas, some pillows, lots of rugs, because otherwise you'd slip on the lube. Health and safety nightmare. Eventually, my guy ends up standing here, right? Looking quite buffed and muscular. I sort of end up here, looking quite dainty and cute. And you can sort of guess what's going on here, right? You get it. Imagine it however detailed you want. Eventually, my guy goes like, oh yeah, you're really good at this. And in my brain, shortcuts to the most inappropriate thing I can think of. And I go, oh, sorry. Oh, thanks. My mother taught me. And you can just sort of hear all the other dicks in the room deflating like balloons at the world's saddest birthday party. Thank you very much.
Thanks all so much for coming all this way just to see me. That was very nice. I must say it's quite disconcerting sitting in the front row because I can see my own butt crack sweat from here. Who here lives in a house share? Woo, yeah. Who here has ever lived in a house share? Yes, all of us, I hope. So last year I moved into my first ever house share. And so for the first time in my life, I was living with a group of girls and we're all the same age and we're all single and it is awful. It's really hard work. There are a lot of things that I'm getting used to, but one thing I cannot get my head around is just the intimacy in day-to-day conversations. We did 3 hours on discharge the other day, and I did not know there was that much to say. There is. The thing that we do get really into, though, in terms of oversharing, is boys. Because we're all single, and there just seems to be this kind of standard level of information to share about each other's, sexual partners. And you think, oh, it's fine, I'm never going to meet this guy. But then you do meet him. You meet him over breakfast on a Saturday morning, and you already know he has a small to medium penis, that he is circumcised for medical reasons, not religious. that he hates his dad, that he got a 2-1 in geography from Durham, and he's got really, really, really bad hemorrhoids. And I don't know how you're supposed to have a normal conversation when you know that much about someone. But hey-ho, I date. I do some dating. And controversial opinion, I really love dating in London. And I think that's because I moved here from Plymouth, which is it's not the Punchline, which, for those that don't know and didn't laugh, is a military town in the southwest where the dating pool consists of soldiers, sailors, and amputees. Stop it. So I was thrilled to get to London and find that I could score dates with guys who not only didn't have complex PTSD, but could also read. It's been great. I've really been enjoying it. Long-term dating military men though has given me like a hard type, which is hot guys. Specifically dumb hot guys. I don't know, there's something really endearing about a guy who still thinks Tony Blair is Prime Minister. Like, there's so much they don't know. And I love the stupid little questions they ask as well. Like, why don't all the tubes crash into each other? That, baby, is a great question. That is such a good question. But you don't need to worry about that. I'll worry about the tubes, okay? I'll talk to Sadiq. I'll make sure they don't all crash into each other. Your job is gym. Please, those reps are not going to do themselves. Those are some really nice arms you have. I really outdid myself the other day, though. I went on a date with this guy. He was gorgeous, so gorgeous. And we were walking down the Thames, and he was pointing at all the buildings, asking what was what, and I was telling him the ones that I knew and just making up the rest. And we got to that bit between London Bridge and Tower Bridge. And if you don't know, there's like a big naval vessel called HMS Belfast. It's actually quite a good day out. You go and pretend to do some more crimes. It's a good time. And we get to HMS Belfast, and he looks at it and he goes, "Wow!" And he looks at me and he goes, "Wow, is that the Titanic?" That sounds like I made it up. I didn't. That man was 31, and I still had sex with him. Going briefly back to housemates, though, as I said, this is the first time I've ever lived with people that I'm not related to or I'm not going out with. It's been a real experience. It's been like, I feel like I've developed whole new empathy for people, because when you live with people, you see the whole of them, you see the fullness of them. And I think, yeah, I've developed a lot more empathy. One of my housemates, she had like quite a tricky life. She had a tricky childhood. She was bullied at school. She didn't get on well at uni. She struggled at work. And when you live with someone, you kind of, as you see them as a whole being, you kind of realise some things. And I really realised, like, why her dad left. Like, and why her mum blames her for it. Like, I cannot believe he lasted until she was 7. 3 months of living with this woman, and I want to fake a brain injury. I'm not saying that everyone whose dad or had a parent that left like deserved it, but like some of you need to look at yourselves, because that was all her, man. I have been Daisy. You have been lovely. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. So what name do you give to someone who identifies as an atheist? Godfrey. So a bit about me. Sometimes I have panic attacks, and for those of you who don't know what a panic attack is, I'll try not to showcase it right now. I'm too good at that. I'm an expert in that field. But it's weird as well when you're first going through the symptoms and you're trying to work out about your mental health, and you end up going to see all sorts of random people, like the hypnotherapist, the homeopath, psychologist. You tick all the boxes in the end. But one particular day when I visited the doctor, I remember it because they ruled out bipolar disorder, and I didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. Also, going back to panic attacks, I've since learned there's a relative of the panic attack known as a limited symptom attack, and this is when you have 3 symptoms or less, i.e. a less stylish panic attack, but I've had them as well, obviously. I've had them at some point. But Yeah, it's weird as well, because for me, the name limited symptom attack seems a bit more formal as well. If you're telling someone, I'm in the middle of a limited symptom attack right now, they don't come to your aid so quickly. And also, the other problem is it adds maths into the equation as well for something that's just meant to be like about feelings. So you're trying to count the symptoms as well, and you're trying to think, what do I have? So like you're panicking, shaking, running away, have bad maths, and by the time you're trying to figure out what you do or don't have, it gets upgraded to a full-blown panic attack anyway. But the most random place I've had a panic attack is probably in the hairdresser. Still can't explain that one. But for me, a hairdresser can be a weird place, especially if the hairdresser's not talking to you and you end up staring straight ahead at your reflection in the mirror. And you don't know whether to give positive feedback as well. Like if they do a particularly good cut, you like do a small gesture, like raise an eyebrow or half smile or something, or especially if they're not talking to you. But and also if it goes badly as well, you're just witnessing the slow death of your haircut. But by the time it gets to the end, and you want, if they've done a particularly good cut, you want to think, how can I repay the hairdresser? What can I do to make them feel good about themselves? I've got to compliment them in some way. So I look in the mirror at myself and say to them, I look amazing, even if I don't mean it, obviously. But that's the best thing I can think of in the moment. But sometimes when you're on transport, sometimes you get, I'm not sure if you've heard American tourists referring to the town of Leicester, or Norwegians referring to the town in Hertfordshire as Watfjord. Also, some phrases to me as well, I'm a bit slow on getting the hang of, for example, I'm trying to still figure out what self-explanatory means. I don't get why some people make others feel inferior and put others down. I'm above all that, so I would never do that. I know it's like coming up to Eurovision, I'm not sure of any Eurovision fans, but whenever Eurovision comes around, it's that time of year, it takes me back to the time when I got douze points myself on my driving licence. Last summer, I was at a barbecue. The barbecue I was at was slightly longer than the Oppenheimer queue. For me as well, there were two completely random films to put together, Barbie and Oppenheimer. It makes me think, in the 90s, did people watch Mrs. Doubtfire back-to-back with Schindler's List? Is that ever a thing? Sometimes in restaurant, I've received rude service. There was this one particular occasion when the staff member was very short with me. All I did was ask for, they asked me what sauce I wanted. So I just said, tartar for now, and off they went. I know I've been using a bit too many puns, but I'll try not to make any Freudian ships if I can. But also I've been trying to improve my health recently, so I've been taking some fish oils, but if I had to rate them out of 10, I'd have to rate it omega-3 probably. And I'll just leave you on this. There was this, with dating, I've not really had much luck. There was this one person who asked me, who I thought things were going well with, and they asked me how gorgeous I thought they were, so I just simply said, drop dead. I don't know if it was the way I said it, if I was too enthusiastic, but I think I need to work on some of my killer lines. Thank you very much. You've been a great crowd. I've been Harry.
Hello, I'm just the drink giver-outerer. How is everyone? Guys, I do recently changed my pronouns, changed them to she, they, but I also identify as incredibly confrontational, so use either or, I'm really not bothered. Whatever works for you. But no, I was having sex last week, flex, and the girl said to me, what are your pronouns? And I said, oh, they're she, they, and she goes, oh, you are such a bad girl. Then paused and said, no, you're a bad person. So that's using gender really correctly in the bedroom, guys. This is actually a TED Talk. It's not actually a comedy show. I turned 33 a few weeks ago, which is cool. I'm discovering my 20s were all about, drugs and drinking and going out. My 30s, they're predominantly about how many memberships I can physically own. Guys, you don't need cocaine when you can see 7 films at the Curzon Cinema every week. That's called truly living. It's It's wonderful. But no, the sort of lesbian I am, how I identify, I'm a Carabiner lesbian. It is a type of lesbian. We carry our keys. I guess I would say the Carabiner to lesbian is kind of like the Pandora charm bracelet to straight women. You know, they collect beautiful charms. We collect our ex-girlfriend's keys. You know, it's really similar. I always like to think, what would straight men hang on their carabiner if they wanted people to know about their sexuality? Any guesses? I think it would be, you know, the Huel plastic shaking containers. Just like constantly ready for like a shake, you know. I would like to do a quick welfare check on men because guys, you can have 3 meals a day that are like solid, you know. You can also, you don't have to use 3-in-1 body wash. It's really crazy. Like, it's super fun. It's really lovely. But no, I do love straight people. I love straight culture. It's my favorite cultures out of all the cultures in the world. I do love when all my straight guy mates go on holiday. You know, lads on tour. Wouldn't want to be a Peroni right about now. And I love when they holiday. And I love on Instagram and they'll be like, ooh, you know, the lads are off to Poland. Oh, watch out, Poland. Poland's not going to know what hit it when we get there. Okay, I'm no history buff. Poland's had a really crazy past, you know? Famines and wars, but 5 men in bucket hats and 1-syllable names. They could bring down Poland. You know, that's the confidence I want to bring into this year. I truly am trying. But I've also, I've decided I want to kind of give back this year. I want to give back to my girlies, my straight girlies. You know, I guess anyone that's that in the room right now. I'm going to be your ally this year. Stop being I'm gonna immerse myself in your culture. I'm gonna start watching like Dancing on Ice and just drink rosé. I'm really excited. But I've decided I wanna do like a parade for you guys. The gays, we have a parade. It's amazing. So I'm gonna do a parade for straight women. And this is kind of my idea. I am crowdfunding it. Come talk to me after the show. So we tell all the straight women, we say, hey, come meet us at the really big Zara on Oxford Street. That's like the starting point. And then like we parade and like we march all the girlies to like the closest Oliver bonus. And we just say, hey, you get whatever you want. You know, you get the print with a pineapple on that says, life's crazy, you know? Go crazy. And then we just end it like an all-bar one. And we just trash men called Matt and drink mimosas. I think it could be I'm really trying to get behind that. But no, this year I also was like, oh, I want to do a New Year's resolution. We are, in March now. And I decided this year I wanted to try and go to a sex party. The reason is because I think I could be really good at them. Because at like university, I was really great at group work. Like, very dyslexic, but super enthusiastic, brought snacks, showed up. And I feel like that's kind of the baseline of a sex party, my limited knowledge. But the closest I've kind of ever gotten to sort of a sex party is a few months ago, I went on a hen's weekend. You know, again, straight culture, immersing myself. And it was in Cornwall. It was beautiful. We went to an escape room, number 1. The favourite thing about that was that the woman, as we went into the escape room, did a bit of ketamine and said, this is me escaping from my children. I was like, this is a very layered escape room. I don't know what's happening. But the Airbnb we were in was actually, was this amazing Airbnb in Cornwall, and there was this trampoline. And I kind of wanted to convince all the straight women to get on this trampoline with me. So we were all drinking rosé, culture, and we got on this trampoline. I don't know if anyone's ever jumped on a trampoline with women filled to the brim with rosé who've also just given birth in the last 18 months. What I'm saying is, guys, I went to my first piss party. Thank you so much.
How's everyone doing? Great. So I'm French, also like the previous person. In France, my name is pronounced Roland, which sounds quite sophisticated and confident. But when I came to London, people started calling me Roland. Yeah, it's like the uncoolest name ever. I even found out recently there was a man called Roland the Farter. Yeah, really. And he lived in 12th century England. And his task was he had to fart for Henry II. Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine farting as a job? That must be like exhausting, you know? Imagine doing like a 10-hour shift farting. Perhaps he had like loads of Brussels sprouts during lunch break or something. Yeah. Well, actually, even if I tried to fart right now intentionally, it just wouldn't work, you know? I don't know how he did it. Perhaps he was like freelance, you know? And yeah, Henry II, he would hire him just whenever necessary or something. Well, that's the association with my name. It's pretty bad, you know? So in London, I discovered speed dating. Anyone tried speed dating? No? Ah, cool. Well, you know, it takes like 4 minutes. And one day I met this woman and asked her, you know, you usually ask, what do you do? And she said, I'm a superintendent in the police. I thought, what? That's really highly unusual, you know? And I thought, you know, is she here like trying to hunt one of the guys, you know, next door or something? Yeah. And then I asked, so what it was a bit on you know, a bit bizarre. So I said, what's your specialty? And she said, sex offenders. Yeah, really. And I thought, what? You know? And afterwards, I thought, you know, yeah, well, I actually asked her, so I tried to keep on the conversation, and I said, so what do you like to do, hobbies? And she said, traveling. And I said, where about? She said, Ibiza. I thought, oh, really? Is she going on leisure or research? I don't know, you know? It was quite bizarre, uncomfortable. At the end, I caught myself saying thank you. You know, at the end of a speed dating, usually say nice to meet you. And I said thank you, like thank you, officer, something. As if it was like an interrogation or something. And yeah, so in London as well, I love taking the tube. So one day I was with my friend and the doors wouldn't close. And we heard an announcement that said, hello, everyone, we're going to detrain the train. And I looked at my friend and I said, what does that mean? And he said, I don't know. I mean, does anyone know here what detraining the train means? No? Does it mean making the train less train or something? Take the wheels off and turn it into a corridor or something? Take the seats off and turn it into a bowling alley or maybe turn it into a pub. You guys love your pubs. Call it the Railway Tavern, you know? Also, in London, I was with a friend. I needed to print this really important document. I don't have a printer at home. So I said to my friend, I'm going to go to my friend's place, our friend's place, print this document, and I'll say hello. And he looked at me and said, oh, you're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I thought, what? Like this, that's horrible, you know? Like this guy seems so friendly and gentle, you know, but inside is this violence, you know? Yeah. I mean, not 1 bird, but 2 birds, you know? And also, where do you get the stones from? I mean, do you carry them around with you or something? Yeah, well, actually, then I contacted him and said, you know, you've gone too far with the birds, the pigeons. You know, I like the pigeons. I know they get a really bad press here. And yeah, and he said, oh yeah, sorry, I shot myself in the foot. I thought, what? Like, are you okay? You know, this guy's got some real serious issues, you know? And then afterwards, things were pretty bad, you know? And I called him and I said, and he said, sorry, I can't talk. The shit has hit the fan. I thought, what? That's disgusting. There's gonna be shit all over the place, you know? How are you gonna clean that shit? You know, you're gonna need a lot of toilet paper and Kleenex, you know? Yeah. Well, talking about toilet paper, during the pandemic, it happened in France as well. There was like, people were queuing, you know. There's this really deadly virus coming, you know. It might kill us all, but we need to get some toilet paper, you know. You know, we need to have our ass clean, you know. It's more important than food or anything. Well, I agree with that, you know. I agree with that philosophy of life. You know, before I die, I want to have my ass really clean. Thank you very much.
I'm not French, although I do love the French. My ex-husband's French. I've just been to the Philip Guston at the Tate. Has anyone been?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? I like to go around exhibitions twice. First time, to take photographs to put on Instagram. And the second time, to look down on people taking photographs to put on Instagram. I swam a 10K last week. Thank you. It's not a joke, I just don't think I've told enough people. It was around about the 7 or 8k mark that I realised that finishing this swim wasn't going to fill the gaping void inside me any more than the last one did. Because, Alva, if we both know you can't run away from yourself, you sure as hell can't swim. You'd never be able to swim fast enough, would you? Even Michael Phelps is going to have to face his demons one day. So I decided to channel the gaping void inside me into my stand-up. And everyone's a winner. I was in the pub the other day by myself. Guy comes up to me and asks whether I've been ghosted or dumped or something. I said, no. We're allowed out on our own these days. Although I'm not going to say that having a chaperone wouldn't come in handy from time to time. I went on Bumble the other day, which is something that I do once a month when I'm ovulating. I'm not saying I want to procreate. Just try telling my body that on a Tuesday night down Spoons. Set my age range roughly 35 to 55 if I'm feeling generous, which should give you a rough indication of my age and or daddy/Oedipal issues. Depending on how good you think I look. I was going on a date with a jazz drummer. My friend said to me, at least you know he's got good rhythm. She was, of course, referring to the beautiful act of lovemaking. At the time, I wholeheartedly concurred, but on reflection, I got to thinking 2 things. 1, he might not be a very good drummer. And 2, just how much rhythm do you need? After a little bit of research, I discovered that humans have sex at roughly 75 beats per minute in 4/4 time. Something for which I believe a jazz drummer might be sorely overqualified. Before you know it, you might find yourself 3 self-indulgent hours later. There's been no climax, and you're wishing you left at the interval. Just a top tip if you ever find yourself in this position. The stock response to their questioning as to whether or not you'd enjoyed it should always be, it was interesting. I like to practice my comedy down Spoons. The reason for this is threefold. 1, they don't play music, so it's relatively quiet. 2, drinking in an establishment owned by someone as politically and ethically dubious as Tim Martin really exercises one's capacity for cognitive dissonance. A skill I'm finding increasingly useful in scenarios such as this. And 3, nobody bats an eye at yet another person talking to themselves. I started doing stand-up for the same reason that most people start doing stand-up. Because my dad didn't love me. Well, I sure showed him. Thank you very much.